What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Amanda. Amanda, another crazy week of football on deck. I can't wait.
Oh, I mean, last week was absolute chaos. Like our picks were garbage. Most of the favorite teams lost. So I'm intrigued to see what this week brings.
I love the chaos and the upsets. Hugh, great to have you back on, and great to talk about and preview another week of football.
Absolutely.
I love the chaos. The upsets last week were pretty crazy. The Eagles. Who else was big upsets last week, Amanda? The Niners losing to the Vikings.
Yeah. I mean, there were some wild ones. The Broncos putting up 26-7 against the Bucks. Like, what the hell was that? Like, that was There was
But
some wild stuff.
How about the Packers winning though?
Hey, we picked the Packers to win. You and me, Hugh, we picked them. Alex picked the Titans, and then
absolutely we did.
So I gotta stop picking Will Levis. That's backfiring on me.
Well, Hugh, Alex and I split our different picks. We had 6 games we picked differently. We split them evenly, 3 and 3.
Oh, wow.
But let me just say, his teams won by a combined 20 points. Mine won by 58 points.
Go ahead on, Amanda.
So I still won the week.
Points don't matter. It's about wins and losses. We know this.
However you need to make yourself feel better, Alex.
So, Hugh, last night, let's get into this. The Cowboys at the Giants. Hugh, do you buy into like early season must wins? Like the Cowboys couldn't afford to start 1-3, right? Do you feel like last night they had that sense of urgency?
Yes, they did. I think it was important. You know, you lose your home opener the way they did. And so I thought it was really important for them to come back. It looked like they were disjointed, a week ago on the sideline. And obviously I think they came out and played well. The receiver went off in that first half. He's a tremendous player. CD is just as good as there is. And I think the quarterback feels very comfortable with him. But they got it going early and they were able to maintain and do just enough to finish it at the end.
Yeah, and Amanda, what did you think of this game? I mean, it was actually pretty competitive. The Giants had a chance to steal this one. But
yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. My biggest issue with this game, the officiating was crazy. Like Dallas has had 2 first halves where they've had 10 penalties. Had it been called correctly, the face mask in the first half would have been number 10. So that would have tied their games for most penalties in a first half ever. My issue is with Brian Michael Dable over here. If your guy gets aggressively face masks, they play the replay, the refs call it on him instead of the player who did it, and you don't react, you have lost all my respect as a player, as a fan. He didn't say anything. And I understand you can't challenge that. You can't challenge an unnecessary roughness. There are some penalties that cannot be challenged. I understand there's nothing you can do there after it's been officially called. But you didn't watch you didn't look up at the replay. If we at home can see on the replay that Bellinger was the one who had a face mask committed on him by Overshone, and they called it and took you from where were they? They were second and 4.
So what?
They were second and 7, and they went to second and 18. Yeah. And they were on the Dallas 37. So had that gone in their favor, as it should have, they would have moved up just shy of the red zone and had an automatic first down. Their coach didn't even blink when they called it on the wrong team. He was just like, oh yeah, whatever. This is the first quarter. If you don't care about the injustices being done to your players and bad reffing, if you don't react at all, I am not going to try that hard to win the game for you, coach. Sorry.
How difficult is that to balance your emotions, to call out the refs and hold them accountable versus dealing with play calling as a head coach? Do you find it easier to sit back and just game manage as far as opposed to calling plays as a head coach? How do you gauge all that?
I think it's tough, but I agree with Amanda. Your team has to know that you're in it with them all the way, and that you're on top of the game. Because if you let that slide, what else will you let slide? And I'm not, speaking down on Brian. I mean, a lot of things could have been happening. I don't know what was going on in the headsets. I'm not there, but I just know that you want to always appear to your team that you're on top of it. You're with them. You're going to fight for them, and you understand every situation that happens in a game.
Yeah, and I've had questions about his coaching style historically anyway. So I was kind of already like ready to throw a red flag at the coach. But can you imagine Tomlin in that situation, or Pete Carroll? Like, you want a coach who's fired up. Like, even if they can't fix the call after the fact, like, I still want to see my coach yelling in the guy's face. Like, that's a 30-yard difference of field position.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the X factor in this game, the Cowboys came in ranked 32nd, dead last against the run defensively, and they shut down the Giants' run game. Their leading rusher, Devin Singletary, 14 carries for 24 yards. So Mike Zimmer really made a point of that this week, emphasizing we have to stop the run. Nice to see the Cowboys defense show up, and after twice this year they've no showed. So Hugh, nice to see the Cowboys defense. We know they're talented. Nice to see them show up in a big game.
Mike Zimmer's too good of a coach to let it keep going that way. It's not gonna keep sliding on him that way. He's gonna challenge the defense, be it the coaches, the players, in order to get it right. I think you saw that last night. The team wasn't able to run the ball on them, and they didn't score a lot of points, and that's what had been happening. And so Dallas was able to correct that. Now, can they keep it going? Can they build off of that game into the next game? And I think that's what's most important.
Malik Neighbors, a rookie wide receiver. I mean, he's already, almost unguardable. 12 catches for 115 yards. Sucks to see him leave with a concussion, but he was really balling out. And Amanda, how do you feel about kicker Greg Joseph, who was on the Packers? They cut him, but he played really well last night, 5 for 5 kicking for the Giants. At the very least, it looks like New York has found a kicker for the year.
Yeah, it's funny because going into this game, that's not the kicker I was watching. Like, we love Brandon Aubrey. Like, he's good. That was the first time he's missed a 50+ yarder so far, right?
Yeah,
He's
in
never
his
missed one
career.
until now.
Yeah.
And in the preseason, he technically tied the record for NFL longest kick. So he's the kicker I was paying attention to here. A little annoying to see a player you cut have a perfect night, and then your kicker is still struggling. But good for him. Sometimes it's about the right fit and the right setting for a player. So I'm glad he's doing well there. We'll see if it's sustainable. But this game was interesting because I think Neighbors makes Daniel Jones look really good, which is weird because I didn't think Daniel Jones could look good. But that's they're a good pair. It's nice to see him have good chemistry with someone. And Dak Prescott on the other side of the ball was very efficient. And I'm, always going to be a Cowboys hater as a Packers fan. Like, America's team really, like, America owns our team, okay? Like, but very efficient. I mean, they seemed pretty locked in offensively once they got going. And the Giants, as much production as they've done on the ground, having to settle from field goal points and not going for it on 4th down when you could and potentially get a touchdown. It seems like their heart wasn't in the game, and they went into this game assuming they would lose. That's the vibe I got from the Giants.
Hugh, how do you balance that? I'm very anti-analytics when it comes to. My thing I always say is field goals are points too. Stack points. Like, I've seen teams win with 7 field goals,
Right.
And so they kicked 5 last night and put up 15, but it wasn't enough. How do you gauge? Do you let the game itself, each game individually, influence your decision making there on to be aggressive and try to score a touchdown or to kick the field goal?
Absolutely, but I think you got to have that feeling as a coach. You said that analytics is a tool, but if you're not scoring, I mean, if I've been down there 3 times and maybe can't get any points, I got to do something different, right? I got to put my team in the best position to have a chance to win. And sometimes that's going against the grain and doing something totally what everybody think you might not do. Now you got to answer for it when it's all said and done. You better have the right answers to the questions, but you have to do everything you can when your players know. I keep siding with Amanda because your team knows when you're really trying to win and when you're not trying to win and when you're just trying to hang in there. You know,
Yeah,
and I think every coach, there's not a coach in the National Football League that does not want to win. You don't play this game to lose, you play it to win. You only have a job if you're winning. So I would think that decisions are made based on that more so than anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
The instance I'm
Um,
talking about was middle of the third quarter. They were on 4th and goal in the 3-yard line.
Right.
Like that's too close. Like it
Gotta
wasn't like
take
it was going to be like a 50-yard field goal. Like just
gotta take a
go
chance.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big win for the Cowboys. They get back to 500 at 2-2, and with their schedule coming up, the Cowboys' next 3 games are at the Steelers, home against the Lions, and at the 49ers. So big win for Dallas, and they're going to be tested here in the next 3 games. Let's get to our picks. Coming up on Sunday, the first game I've got here is the 2-1 Saints at the 1-2 Falcons. This is a great matchup in the NFC South. The Saints came back down to earth against Philly, and the Falcons lost a tough game to the Chiefs. This is in Atlanta. Amanda, how do you see this game going? Saints at Falcons. No Demario Davis for the Saints. That's a big injury.
So my biggest concern, like deciding this game, is injuries on the Falcons O-line.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think they're better equipped than the Eagles were to take on New Orleans, and we saw how the outcome of that one went. I expect it to be close, scrappy divisional battle set up. But I think the Falcons offense is a little bit better. So I think this one's probably going to be close. And I know we've seen the Saints put up some big numbers, week 1 and 2, 91 combined points. So they looked really good, but I think we've kind of highlighted some of their issues with the injuries in last week and stuff. So I think the Falcons are just a little bit more cohesive right now.
Yeah, Hugh, that division, they just beat each other up. They're always split, and every game is tough. How do you see this game going in Atlanta?
Well, I think the fact it's in Atlanta gives Atlanta the chance to win this game. I think Kirk Cousins is starting to play better, understand the team around him. I think defensively, they have some really good players. Their secondary is as good as probably any in pro football.
Yeah,
So I think it's going to be a really good game. I think losing Demario Davis is a huge blow for the defense at the Saints. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
me too. I'm going to go Falcons as well. I'm rooting for Atlanta. Be a key matchup is Chris Olave against AJ Terrell. That's going to be
Mhm.
must watch, and we'll see what Rashid Shaheed can do. 0 catches in week 3 after going off the first 2 weeks. So we'll see if he can bounce back. So we're all taking Atlanta at home.
Someone else
Uh,
that I'm concerned about in this one, Bijan Robinson only averaged 1.9 yards per carry against the Chiefs last week.
yeah,
So
they
I want to see him get back into his stride because that's a rough week for him because we expect
Mhm.
a lot more.
Yep, absolutely. 1-2 Rams at the 1-2 Bears. My Bears needing a win desperately. They're going up against an injury, beat up Rams team. The Bears expected to be getting wide receiver Keenan Allen back. Uh, we'll see. Hugh, Caleb Williams has taken steps in the right direction each week. Threw for 300 plus yards last week. Do you think Caleb continues to take a step in the right direction against the Rams at home?
I think he does, but for some reason, I think the Rams find a way to win this game. I just
Yeah,
think the Rams, beating San Francisco last week said it all to me.
yeah.
And I think Coach McVay does a great job. He gets his team ready to play, and those guys go find a way to grind out a win. So nothing against Caleb and the Bears. I just think the Rams are the more grittier group, and they're going to find a way to win.
Yeah, and with Puka, Nakua, and Cooper Cup out, it was big to see Kyron Williams get back to it, and have a good game last week. He was key in that win over the 49ers. Amanda, how do you see it going? Uh, tough game. It's a hard one to pick either way.
So for me, I think the deciding factor here is I think the Chicago defense has been playing a little bit better.
Mhm.
Caleb Williams is progressing each week. Granted, they came away with a loss last week, but I mean, we're seeing signs of promise. He's improving week to week. 363 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. A lot of that was, I don't think both interceptions were fully his fault. But his completion rate is improving. So I think if he keeps improving and that defense holds like it did last week, I mean, they lost the game, but I think the offense is just starting to click. I'm gonna side with Alex here and take the Bears, which I'll probably regret. But Caleb Williams is taking steps in the right direction, and I feel like last week's loss had to suck for them. Like I mean, 363 yards is great for a rookie. So I feel like the team is ready to win this one. And I think the Rams kind of had a weird week last week. I don't know if they looked as I don't know. I think they looked better than they are. So I'm gonna pick Chicago here.
It's going to be interesting with the game in Chicago because the
Hmm.
home fans are now they
They
want to win
care.
here.
They care again.
Yes, and they're going to be into this game. They want this win. This is the first game with Keenan Allen playing in the regular season, so maybe this will can help open up the game for Caleb Williams. And the Bears fans are going to let the offense hear it if they struggle. So it's going to be a
I
fun game.
One thing that's interesting here is Matthew Stafford is 223 passing yards short of Eli Manning's 10th place mark for most in
Okay,
NFL history. During Matthew Stafford's career, obviously different team, but he has averaged 274 passing yard per game against Chicago, which is the most all-time by a quarterback against another team that they've played at least 10 times. So Matt
nice.
Stafford is not playing the same Chicago team he's played historically, but also he's got some good numbers against them. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think he's got that losing record though. That's all I care about. That those. Amanda, your team. Let's stick it with the NFC North. The Vikings at the Packers. 3-0 Vikings. Hugh, the Vikings are 3-0, trying to get to 4-0. Did you see this coming? Because I can't wrap my head around it. I don't think the Vikings are that good of a team. I don't trust Sam Darnold to continue this undefeated run. The Vikings, I think, are going to lose here in Lambeau. Are the Vikings better than I'm giving them credit?
Absolutely, they are. I think they have a head coach on defense, and Brian Flores. I think he's doing a
Yeah.
tremendous job. Who should get a job next year? And then you look at what the head coach is doing on offense. I mean, I think it's the right fit between him and Sam Darnold. I
Mm-hmm.
think O'Connell's just done great with this young man, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. I think he understands what they're trying to do. They have enough weapons, on offense. Here comes Aaron Jones coming back home to go play against the Packers. He's going to be ready to go. I promise you he will. And I see the Vikings upsetting the Pack at home. And I have not gone against the Pack yet.
Nice. I like it.
So my
Amanda,
thing
are
is
we
though, is it an upset if Jordan Love doesn't play? Like I
that's
haven't
the key. That's the key.
It is to
That's
me
quarterback.
okay.
because I have watched the Packers play the last 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and Malik Willis has been as good playing and doing what he's been asked to do as Jordan Love has been when he's played. I
I think it's
mean,
always week 3 for me when you see a backup quarterback start falling apart though. Like they can
yeah.
have one great outing, maybe two, and then week 3 is where it starts like you start seeing their true colors. Like it turns into Pick City.
Well,
That's a
Amanda,
tough
I'm gonna give
test.
some credit. I'm gonna give some
Oh,
credit though to the Packers head coach for this reason. He's letting Willis do what he does, which is
mhm.
run the football. He's not asking him to make every throw, but he's making some incredible throws. He has unbelievable escapability, and he's made some big time NFL plays the last couple
Yes.
of weeks. So
I
I
think
just
the
think,
coaches on both sides have been
oh,
fantastic this
oh
year.
yeah, that's why I
Um,
think it's gonna be a great game, like you
Yeah,
mentioned.
I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, the Vikings defense lets a lot of yards go. They let other teams put up big numbers, but they also have the second best interception rate. They've got 5 interceptions so far this year.
Hmm.
So either way, Love or Willis, I'm a little nervous about the interception thing there. I mean, 16 sacks. So
Hmm.
if Jordan Love plays, he loves being under pressure. He's
Hmm.
got, I think, the third or fourth best percentage under pressure of any
That's
quarterback
what
in the
that's
league
when he was playing though, right, Amanda?
from last year.
Right, right, right. And,
Yeah.
and I'm just saying this year we don't know about
Yeah.
that
Well,
just
I was
yet.
just gonna say we don't know how he's gonna like the pressure nursing an injury. Like, so obviously he's gonna be relying on the O line a lot. But I'm gonna pick the Packers here just because I'm gonna be pissed if I don't pick them and then they win and then I get to talk shit to my Vikings friends who are like, but you didn't even pick them. So yeah, but honestly, Sam Darnold has impressed me. And I did not think I would ever say those words. So
I think it's gonna come to a point though. Like, there's no way. I don't see this Vikings team. I love what they're doing. They're having success. but is it sustainable? They are very well coached. I agree with that. Um, and this is a big prove it game. They've come through. They beat the Texans. No one picked them to beat the Texans. No one picked them to beat the Niners. So can they beat Green Bay too and get to 4-0? That would be a hell of a start to the season. I'm gonna go with Green Bay. I think Jordan Love starts, but I am rooting for an Aaron Jones Lambeau leap. I'd love to see that.
He said he's gonna if he gets a touchdown. But he did say, well, there's no more G on his helmet. There's still a G in his heart, which is adorable. So
Not a J on his paycheck though anymore.
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
No, but I think he's gonna have a good game. But I like his relationship with Packers fans. Like nobody's gonna boo that man. I think it's gonna be like a standing ovation moment and just a lot of like, heartfelt. Like we loved him. It just didn't make sense to keep him because we couldn't pay him what he needed. And in this game, I mean, the Vikings haven't won consecutive games in Green Bay since 1993. So hopefully that continues because I would hate to break a 20-year trend.
Well, if Hugh's right, we're gonna have to rename it to the NFC Central. We're gonna have to go back in time if the
There you
Vikings
go.
Steelers at Colts. Amanda, Justin Fields, 3-0 Steelers. I love what Pittsburgh is doing. He seems to be a perfect fit with Mike Tomlin and that team around him. The defense is playing lights out. They go to Indy. I'm riding with the Steelers. I think they get to 4-0. How are you feeling about it, Amanda?
I'm with you. I mean, I can't point out a better defense. They're both sides of the ball have been great on that team. I mean, and it's normally we would be like, oh yeah, TJ Watt, but Joey Porter Jr. is, reminded me of Richard Sherman, honestly, like that shutdown corner, like he's not really one to run his mouth yet, but like he could, like nobody would argue with him. Like Richard Sherman was always so outspoken. I could see him doing that and people being like, yeah, you are the number one quarter in the league. And Pittsburgh's offense, they worked out some kinks. It seems like the Justin Fields has the gig now, but they've got a lot of talent on their receiving core. So now if they're starting guy, I only expect them to keep improving on offense.
Yeah, Hugh, how are you feeling about that? Fields seems to be a perfect fit.
No, Steelers. I've said it before the season started. I thought that Justin Fields would have been the quarterback there. I think if he would have stayed in Chicago, he would have been the quarterback there. I think anywhere he went, he was going to become the quarterback. He's very, very talented. And I just think Pittsburgh's playing to his strengths. And I think he's getting better every week. That he has a defense that he can lean on when things are not going as well. So I think they're going to be a real good football team this season.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I'm rooting for Fields and the Steelers. I think they get to 4-0. I think Anthony Richardson is going to struggle against that Steelers defense.
Yes.
If anything, Jonathan Taylor needs to help him out, but it's going to be interesting. I got the Steelers. We all got the Steelers there. Yeah.
I'm hoping TJ Watt gets at least half a sack in this game because he'll take number 2 behind Reggie White for the fastest to 100 sacks in NFL history.
Done.
That'd be a nice little.
Yeah, to be done, Amanda, in the first quarter.
It should. I'm just. We gotta say they're weird games, sometimes. He could roll an ankle in the first quarter. We don't know.
Oh, he could. Hey, everybody tries to block him with 2 or 3 guys. He's very, very good.
He's so good.
Broncos at Jets. Interesting game here. I'm riding with the Jets. They're at home. Aaron Rodgers looked great in week 3. Bo Nix and the Broncos looked good in week 3 as well, but I don't expect that to happen against the Jets defense. Give me New York at home by double digits. Hugh, do you agree with that?
I'm with you.
Yeah. Jets should dominate this one. Amanda?
Yeah, and you would think that the Patriots having a longer week would be, more of a benefit for them, but Aaron Rodgers has been vintage. Last week, that was beautiful. Like he's connecting really well. His chemistry is good. The Broncos won their first game of the season. Bo Nix put together his best performance we've seen in the NFL. But I think the vibes around the Jets are better. I think they're riding and they're making a run for it this year. And I think the Broncos might get embarrassed.
Yeah, and the Jets have to be keeping track of the Bills, and they want to win that division, so they know this win is important. I expect them to not take them lightly and take care of business there. Amanda, Eagles at the Bucks. this is a fun game. This is a tough one to pick. A playoff rematch of
It's funny
last
that
year.
you say it's tough to pick. I literally have question marks there. Like I don't know yet. You
I
you guys
mean,
gotta state your cases. Help me decide this one because I am on the fence.
well, Philly has to be pissed off, at thinking about that playoff game. They got to be watching film of that playoff game, saying we have to perform a lot better than this.
Well, the
Uh,
last two playoff games, 2001 and 2023, the Bucks have won by a combined score of 63-24, their last two playoff matchups. So they've
I
got,
doubt they look it all the way back to 2001, but you never know.
like, you got to look at their last few times they've played each other. Like it's, they got some dirt on them. Like they got to be feisty about this one. A little chip on the shoulder.
Hugh, there's no way the Eagles can allow Tampa Bay to do this two times in a row, right?
It's not allowing them to do it. They're going to do it. I think
Yeah,
the Bucks win at home
yeah.
against the Eagles. I think the Eagles are starting to get better. I think they'll go on a run after this, but I think in this game, I think with the Bucks being back healthy for the most part, I think the
Mhm.
Bucks wins this game at home.
Yeah, I agree. I got the Bucks at home. Amanda, I think that the Bucks are gonna be pissed off as well, considering how bad they played last week against Denver.
And
I think
I
they
know they
thought
were missing key starters, but man, losing
that,
7-26 to the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix, like that's embarrassing. I
well,
think
they're
Baker's going to
riding
be
high.
pissed.
Yeah, they're riding high after beating the Lions, so they felt like they could just go in there and go through the motions and get an easy win. That wasn't the case. The issue for the Eagles is they might be without their two top receivers. AJ Brown likely out. Devontae Smith might be out as well.
Hmm.
And
So
that defense has
advanced.
been vulnerable all season.
Yeah, and then you got Nick Sirianni. He loves turnovers on downs instead of field goals, so
Nick
that could cost
Campbell.
him. I got to ride with Tampa Bay here.
Yeah.
Make a decision, Amanda. Go with Philly. You know you want to
No,
give
oh
them
no, I do.
a
You know I love Baker Mayfield.
win.
I don't know. I mean, Hurts has been posting some of his best passing numbers of his career so far this year.
And you got
Um,
Saquon going off.
yeah, I worry about that Tampa Bay defense. I'm
So
gonna
who
regret
you
this. All
picking?
right, I'm gonna pick the Eagles.
All
Hugh,
right.
who you got?
Hughes got Tampa.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Duke it out next week. But I'll still be happy if the Bucks win because Baker deserves to win. The chemistry just seems off with the Eagles, but then I don't know how
Eagles
healthy
are,
everyone's gonna be after coming back from injuries last
yeah,
week. So
Eagles are tough to pick, and it's such a week to week league. You
that's
never
so
know.
weird. Yeah. The Eagles have been very up and down.
Hugh, the Bengals have to win this week. I was disappointed in them on Monday night. They fell to 0-3, and a great opportunity to get their first win in Charlotte against the Panthers. But Andy Dalton, your guy, tore it up last week. No one saw that coming. Can Andy Dalton do it again against the Bengals?
Oh, he
Amanda did.
could.
I
He,
saw
he,
that coming.
yeah.
For the
Amanda
record, he
did.
said no one. I said I
he,
bet Andy Dalton can roll in there and have
he,
the game of
he,
his life. So
he did. He possibly could do it again, but I just think the Bengals are their backs against the wall right now. In that division, you can't go 0-4 to
Yeah,
start the year. It doesn't add up right at the end. So I just think the Bengals are going to go to Carolina and win this game.
yeah.
I think it's
Amanda, state your
I think
case.
it's crazy that Andy Dalton was the first quarterback this season to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. Like who? Like that cracks me up. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because Joe Burrow ran his mouth in interviews. He's like, "No, our season isn't over. We can still make the postseason." Like, all right, either
Well, the thing
it's
is
going
I
to go one
believe
of two
him.
ways. They're
I
going to have a
believe him.
great game or they're going to get their butts kicked. Like after you run your mouth like that, like either the universe says, "Nah, dude," and you lose by 30 points, or you have a great game and it's back and forth and it's competitive and you pull off a close win.
I've been disappointed with Lou Anarumo's defense so far this year, and I think like maybe this is the week against Carolina. He gets that defense performing better. I like their defense. They have playmakers over there. So I got the Bengals to get this win. And Hugh, where was Andy Dalton doing this in Chicago? Why couldn't he do this for my Bears?
Oh, he did when he could, but
Yeah,
they were playing musical chairs at quarterback. So
yeah.
Andy's a really good player, and he knows the league extremely well. It's not a defense he hadn't seen. He can throw
Yeah.
the ball extremely well, is pinpoint accurate, and that's what you saw against the Raiders last week.
Yeah, I just don't see the Bengals starting 0-4. I think they get
Me
the win
neither.
here. Yeah. So we all are picking Bengals. Um, this is a good one. Jags at Texans, another team that could be starting 0-4. Hugh, I said it last week that I'm riding with the Jags, right? I felt like they're a playoff team. I'm going to keep going with them. And if they couldn't show up against Buffalo, maybe it was time to let this team go. I'm there. Like I think something's broken in Jacksonville. And as a coach, I know you don't want to hear this. I'm on the train. Let's move on from Doug Peterson. 3 weeks in, something's not going on right in Jacksonville. I think they start 0-4.
Well, I never want to see a coach lose his job, and Doug Peterson's a friend, so I hope he gets whatever that is within the organization, right, as you mentioned. But
Yeah.
I don't see them winning this game
Yeah.
at the Texans. I think the Texans are going to be really salty because of losing last week. I think they're going to come play extremely well this week. I
Mhm.
think the quarterback's going to play well, and I think the offense is going to flourish, and the defense is going to play well at the Texans as well.
That's the issue, Amanda. They just paid Trevor Lawrence so much money, so they can't, blame it all on Trevor Lawrence. A lot of that blame's going to go to the head coach, right?
I mean, I think there's a lot going on. Like defensively, they're the only team that hasn't forced a turnover in the league.
Yeah, they've been bad defensively. I agree.
Like there's been a lot of issues, and I mean, Peterson should have some hope going into this one, some optimism, because the Texans have allowed the fourth most yards so far
Okay.
this season. Like you don't need a great offense when the other team is giving up yards like crazy. So, I mean, they should have some optimism, but it doesn't seem like they're clicking. I mean, offensively, defensively, I don't know, but 0-4 just seems so low for Trevor Lawrence. Like eight
There's something
straight
wrong
starts
there.
he's lost. Well, he's
There's
been playing
something.
through was it ankle, shoulder,
Yeah,
something?
but I mean, he's missing. He's overthrowing guys. He threw a couple
Mhm.
bad interceptions, and it's not just a slow start this year. This tracks back to last year. They're one
Yeah,
and seven in the last eight.
eight straight starts he's lost. But I
Yeah,
tried to explain last week, every time he plays through an injury, he loses.
yeah.
So
So
until he takes a break and actually heals and is at 100% health, he's just
yeah.
gonna keep losing.
And we all just trust Houston more here, and Houston's the better team, and we expect them to bounce back after a bad loss. Tough one here, Hugh. Commanders at the Cardinals. Jaden Daniels looked great on Monday night. The Commanders, I mean, I could see them winning this game. Jaden Daniels looked amazing on Monday night, huh?
No, he did. I wasn't surprised. I think Alex, we can go back to a long time ago when we were talking about the draft, and we
Mhm.
Yeah,
talked about Jaden Daniels being the first pick of the draft. So he showed that
yeah,
the poise, the precision, the accuracy, the grittiness, the ability to run the football with his legs. I
yeah.
think Cliff Kingsbury's given him a chance to be what he can be on offense. They haven't punted in 2 games. I mean, look out. I mean, I think I haven't bet against the Cardinals all year, but this is
Mhm.
one time I am going to take the Commanders.
Okay.
Nice.
He also has the highest completion rate in the NFL this year.
Hmm.
Yeah, only two incompletions on Monday night. He's
That's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
so good. And I mean, we saw a nice showing from the Cardinals, 41 points, blowout win over the Rams in week 2. But then last week losing to the Lions, like if the Cardinals had won last week, I would be less on the fence about this one. Like, how are you going to put up 41 points and then be held to what, 13 against Detroit?
yeah.
Like,
They looked bad against Detroit. I wasn't
Detroit's
impressed.
defense isn't that good. Like they shouldn't make you
Yeah,
look that bad.
yeah.
So both of these teams, I think overall have been better than I expected them to be. And then we've got like the homecoming stories of Kingsbury, he used to coach the Cardinals coming back home, and Jaden Daniels went to Arizona State. So, both little homecomings, but this is gonna be one of those we're gonna see who you really are this week kind of games.
So, did you say your pick? Are you taking Washington?
No, I've got the Cardinals just because I was on the fence, and I'm gonna do Alex technique of picking the home team if you're like 50-50.
Yeah, I am also. I have the Cardinals here. Um, they got to bounce back. James Conner has to do better than last week. 9 runs for 17 yards.
It was
They
bad.
have to have that running game. Marvin Harrison Jr., I expect to have a big game. And, you know, I know I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I just don't know if they're ready to be 3-1 I don't know if they're quite ready yet. So I'm gonna go Cardinals here at home.
What is
Um,
the over under on this one? Because I bet it's high as heck because neither team has a good defense.
yeah, I'd have to look that up
I'll
here,
look it
but
up. You can talk the next game. I'll go look it up.
well, this is one I think we're all gonna agree on, Hugh. The Patriots at the 49ers. San Francisco should not be 1-2. They don't want to start 1-3. I expect the Niners to show up and take care of business here. And New England just doesn't really scare anybody. I think the Patriots win easily here. Do you agree?
And yeah, the 49ers win, and there's no
Yeah.
question about that.
Yeah, and had to you were the head coach when you were dealing with the transition from Tyrod Taylor to Baker Mayfield. If
Mhm.
you were the head coach in New England, how do you navigate that transition from Jacoby Brissett to Drake May? That O-line is suspect. How long do you let it go? How do you play that?
Well, I think you got to decide if Drake May is the future of the organization, and if you think he has it, you don't want
Yeah,
to put him in a situation where you're going to injure him, neither.
yeah,
So you just got to look at it for what it is. I'm gonna say it again. I think every coach is trying to win; they're not trying to lose. So
yeah,
I think those decisions happen as you go, but you got to have a good feel for it because when you put him out there, you want your quarterback to have success. You don't want him just to be out there playing.
yeah, yeah.
The over under is 49 and a half. I would have guessed in the 50s, but
Yeah. That could be a good bet. Take the over on that.
I would if I bet, but I don't do that. Lose money. I just talk a lot of shit. Um,
So you're taking New England, right?
no, Ramondre Stevenson has fumbled in all 3 games so far. I don't trust you. No, sir.
I'm disappointed. I thought for sure you were going to take the Patriots here. So
Really? Why?
yeah. So I could gain some games on you. I
I
need
mean,
to
the
bet
Pats are allowing 10 sacks per game the last 2 weeks. Their best running back can't hold on to the ball. Like, no. What?
you.
I can't even talk myself into picking them.
All right, Browns at Raiders. This one is a tough one to pick. I don't know who do you trust here. This is a tough one. Amanda, Browns at Raiders. Minshew got benched in the fourth quarter against Carolina. That Antonio Pierce says Minshew's starting this one. He's not making a quarterback switch. Do we trust Cleveland? How do you see this game going in Vegas?
I mean, both offenses are struggling. Cleveland hasn't found their rhythm yet. 18 or fewer points in all 3 games so far. Deshaun Watson, 57% pass completion. Like the Browns' ground attack, which was good last year, is non-existent this year.
Yeah,
24th in yards. Like, bro, like I expected so much more. We've got, Nick Chubb with the ACL. Both teams are such a mess. I mean, we got the Raiders coach over here calling out players for making business decisions instead of playing the best game they can. Like, I honestly, I have no idea. I expect to be a shit show, honestly.
yeah. I think Hugh. Do you trust Antonio Pierce here? Is that what's gonna make your decision?
No, I trust him. I just think when I'm concerned about just the injuries on both sides.
Max
Yeah,
Crosby with his ankle.
Yeah, you got Crosby, I think was ruled out today. I think Devontae
okay.
Adams was ruled out today.
Wow.
Myers was ruled out today
Oh, I missed
on,
Adams being ruled out.
yeah, at the Browns. You look at, they have their tackles are out. I think Tiller is out for the year, you know.
Wow.
So David Njoku's ruled out. So I think you got 2 teams that are very injured. One's having to fly a long ways. They go try to win a game. So I think the Raiders find a way,
Yeah.
to just because they don't have as many injuries, but they have some key injuries that are out just like they do. They have to block Miles Garrett at the end of the day, and he's injured. He's got 2 feet, but he's playing,
Yeah.
so I think the Raiders find a way.
Yeah. And looking at Malik Neighbors' game against the Browns defense last week, I just don't have enough faith in them to overcome the Raiders offense. So yeah, I think we're all gonna roll with Vegas here, I guess.
Yeah, me too. I'm picking the Raiders at home. I just, how can you trust the Browns right now? Their defense was what kept them in all their games last year,
Yeah.
and they're just not getting it done. I don't trust them at all. So, um, here's a
Like
great game.
Daniel Jones looked good. Like what? No.
I'm really looking forward to this game. I know the Chargers are injury hit, but I something tells me this is going to be a really fun game. The 3-0 Chiefs and the 2-1 Chargers. The first meeting of Jim Harbaugh against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert playing, expected to start through a high ankle sprain. Amanda, Chiefs at Chargers. Do you think the Chiefs are just gonna take care of business here? I expect Jim Harbaugh to coach the Chargers up and this to be a highly competitive game despite the injuries.
Well, I think so, but the Charger's gonna Charger. Like every time that they have a big opponent against a big game, I feel like something happens. Like they started 2-0. If last week hadn't happened, they hadn't lost 20-10 to the Steelers, I would be more on board. And then we've got the Derwin James suspension, one
Yeah,
game, conveniently
of
when they play the
course.
Chiefs.
How convenient that is. Yeah, against the Chiefs.
I knew Alex was gonna be pissed about that. I mean, we've got Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater with MCL sprains and pectoral injuries, Joey Bosa. Like their team is
Yeah,
just so beat up. Fully healthy, I would probably take the Chargers here. Especially, I mean, Derwin James has been a playmaker for that team too. So they're just
yeah.
missing so many key parts being fully healthy and available. So I think I have to take the Chiefs just because I,
But
I don't want this matchup with half the team off the field. I want this fully healthy at 100%. And unfortunately, we don't get that.
the Chiefs haven't been that impressive this year either. They've barely won all these games. Hugh, do you think is this game going to be highly competitive, or do you think Kansas City starts to figure it out?
Kansas City figures it out. I
Yeah,
think Patrick starts to play like Patrick again. I think he's the key to it all. I don't think he's played as well. I think there's
yeah,
balls that he's missed that he normally doesn't. You saw last week them make a conscious effort to get the ball to Travis Kelce. Travis hadn't caught a lot of balls. For him not to be up in the statistics, that tells you where their offense is right now. So I think that starts to change. But again, we're talking about a team that's been in the Super Bowl, won a lot of games year in and year out. There's a
yeah.
wear and tear on the season on you. I think they're going to catch fire here while they're still winning, and they're going to make it happen. I really do.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make my pick here. I'm going all in on the LA Chargers. They're gonna
No,
get it
my
done.
Lord.
They're gonna steal the win. In Jim Harbaugh, I trust. I know the injuries say Chiefs, but the Chiefs haven't played a clean game yet this year. They're gonna. This is how I envision it going. The Chiefs are gonna allow the Chargers to stay in this game, right? If the Chiefs were hitting on all cylinders, they would blow this one out. But they're gonna allow the Chargers to stay in the game. It's gonna be Jim Harbaugh football, right? Running the football, time of possession, defense. The Chiefs have been kicking a lot of field goals lately. They haven't been ending drives and touchdowns,
Yeah,
and
but
no one's
the
able
refs
to
are
catch
gonna
up.
bail him out at the end.
Alex and Amanda mentioned it, but Alex, did you see the rush defense of the Chiefs against a really good runner from Atlanta last week?
Yeah, their
Okay, I
defense.
just wanted to remind you that they can play rush defense, and
Well,
whoever
so
number
can the
30
Chargers. The Chargers
number
is ranked fourth this year for rush
oh
D.
I know, but I guarantee you that they won't be running the ball against that team.
Mhm.
Yeah, Herbert's ankle, that doesn't help matters. It's going to be interesting. I am going to guarantee that this is going to be like a 3-point game in the fourth quarter. I think this is going to come down to the wire.
We need a
If
side bet here, Amanda.
it's a blowout, I'm kind of gonna be pissed though, because I'm sick of these like games that are supposed to be good matchups and then just like what was that like? I don't want to turn the game off in the second quarter because they're up by 30 points.
You
Like I
just
like the fact.
might. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes. He knows he hasn't been playing well.
Oh
You
yeah.
think that guy's
Well,
going to continue to put that out there when he knows he's the best player in the National Football League?
what's
Period.
crazy to me is they've been off, but yet Rasheed Rice has the most receptions through 3 games ever in NFL history. How? How many, like, they've barely scored any points. How are you catching so many balls? Like,
Well,
literally an
who else is
all-time
he throwing
NFL
it to
record.
though? I mean, he's not throwing it to Kelsey.
I
Uh,
know, it's just so funny
maybe,
that they're still over here breaking all-time NFL records. Like, do you know how long the NFL has been around? Like,
well,
it's
when you
just so funny that even without their usual chemistry, they're still like good.
when you can maul Kyle Pitts in the end zone on 3rd and goal and no call, all things are possible. But anyways,
There
Chargers
were
3rd and goal.
officials at that game, right? If I'm not mistaken.
That was so bad.
I don't
Happens.
know, man. But the Chiefs' magic has to end at some point. They're not a 4-0 football club the way they've been playing this year. Book it. Chargers for the win. I don't care about the injuries. In Harbaugh, we trust. All right. Had to
You
get
had
that
to
out
take a drink after that one. Ooh, you got whiskey over there or something?
Yeah.
I need something stronger than my water. Ooh, Alex talking a big game today.
there. Sunday Night Football, though, is game of the week. I can't wait for this
I'm
matchup. This is
stoked.
going to be awesome. The 3-0 Bills at the 1-2 Ravens. Uh, I can't wait for this matchup. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm all in on the Ravens, though, at home. I think this is a statement win. It wouldn't surprise me if the Ravens win this one big, actually. I'm all in on the Ravens here at home on Sunday Night Football. Amanda, you're squinting at me, so I feel like I'm taking shots at your AFC team here. So tell me.
You really are. I know last year the Ravens were your AFC team, so I expect you to, wax optimistic on them. But I
Yeah.
mean, have you been watching Bills games? I don't think the Ravens defense is ready.
This isn't the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. This is Roquan Smith. This is the Baltimore Ravens we're talking about.
7 touchdowns, no interceptions, 75% completion rate. Josh Allen is balling out right now. Like
He,
I
he's
don't
got the,
know.
you know, Josh Allen can turn the ball over
Oh,
sometimes
I
too.
know.
It's not
I
just a
know.
game.
He might have a
Hugh,
Sam Howell game and 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. We'll see. But I just the chemistry seems right. And I was concerned about that team coming into this season. So I'm eating my words a little bit too. I mean, Stephon Diggs is gone, Gabe Davis is gone. Like you didn't replace any of your players, but apparently I'm wrong and they know what the fuck they're doing and I need to shut up. But I just and I I do this every year where I get excited about the Bills and I'm ready to get hurt again, man. Like I am ready for them to make it all the way through the season and then lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I'm ready. Like I'll still do it. Like I love Josh Allen and this team just seems so their chemistry is so good right now. So absolutely not. The Ravens are gonna lose. So sorry.
Ravens blowout at home, right?
Oh, gross. So wrong. Hugh, back me up here.
I have to back you up on this one. I think Josh Allen is having a MVP year. I think
Mhm.
Yeah,
James Cook is electric. I
yep.
think the
That
young
James Cook.
receivers they have playing are doing their job. I have to agree with Amanda. I didn't think the Bills would be anything after getting rid of Jordan Poyer and the other defensive players. I'm like, man, they're going to struggle. No, they're right. They made the right decisions at the right time, and I think they go into Baltimore because I think this is a statement game
Mhm.
for Josh
Right.
Allen. I
Yeah.
think he wins this one. He elevates himself in the National Football League spotlight. And I think he gets it and he gets up for those kind of things. And I think he's going to play phenomenal on Sunday night.
It is. That's a great point. It would be a statement if he goes in there on Sunday night on national TV, has like 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, and no turnovers, and wins the game. Then he will be the the head and shoulders favorite to win MVP, and
Mhm.
it'll be a statement win, and everyone will be talking about the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the theme of for me this week is in Harbaugh we trust. Whether it's Jim, whether it's John, Lamar. What really opened my eyes was Derrick Henry's performance last week,
He
and
did
the Ravens.
amazing.
Yeah, they need to have Derrick Henry involved. Um, but yeah, you guys are both taking the Bills. I'm taking the Ravens. Either way, I can't wait for this game, and I hope it's a great game. I hope I'm wrong on the blowout. We want to see a great game on Sunday night, so I
Yeah,
can't
Mm-hmm.
wait
and
for this matchup.
my favorite thing about this matchup is the Ravens somehow have the worst pass defense. in the NFL right now. Like, I love that. Josh Allen is gonna love that if that stands. Obviously, I think the Ravens are still working out some kinks, and they're not. Their record doesn't represent the talent on that team yet. But if they want to be worst pass defense in the NFL this week, Josh Allen's gonna put up 50. So I'm fine with that.
Ooh.
Kyle Hamilton pick 6. You heard it here on the Sports League podcast. All
I
right.
am writing this down so I can tell you you're wrong.
Monday Night Football, the 0-3 Tennessee Titans at the 1-2 Dolphins. You got Will Levis with his 8 turnovers through 3 games going up against, is it going to be Skylar Thompson? Is it going to be Tyler Snoop Huntley? We're not sure. I think it's going to be Tyler
What did you
Huntley
call
for
him?
the Dolphins. Huh?
What did you call him?
Snoop Huntley. That's his nickname.
Is it? I've never heard that. How did I miss
Yeah.
that? Oh.
I don't know what to make of this game. I'm riding with the Titans. I know they're 0-3, but no one predicted the Titans to go into Miami last year and win that. I feel like if Will Levis doesn't win this one, I'm not picking the Titans ever again this year. So Hugh, Titans at Dolphins. Does Tennessee finally get a win? How do you see this happening?
Like you said, this is a tough game to handicap.
Yeah.
I've seen the Titans play, and they're feisty on defense. There's
Yeah.
something missing right now on offense. Like you said, they're turning the ball over. The Dolphins, had to start another quarterback this past week. He gets hurt. In comes Tyler. Here comes Huntley. And I think
Have they made a decision, Huntley or Boyle?
No, they haven't yet.
Huntley.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing, but they
I
haven't
hope so, because
officially
Boyle
made it.
is.
But
Yeah,
I
I think
think
it's a game time decision.
right. I think what they're gonna do though, they're gonna play to Huntley's strength because he has the ability to run with the football along with Tyreek or along with the runner receivers they have, and it turns into a track meet. And so I think Miami wins this game. I don't think they win by a lot, but I think they find a way to win.
Yeah, and we saw how the Titans played against the Packers, who had a mobile quarterback last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Will Levis, man, can you not throw pick sixes and terrible fumbles? Like, just protect the football. If you have a clean game, the defense, Tony Pollard, you'll be in the game. But those stupid turnovers are costing them every week. So,
but the O-line is not giving him an opportunity to play good quarterbacking. Like, Petit Frere, the dude with the French last name that I can't pronounce, he was benched after last week's game because he had a really egregious missed block, strip sack of the quarterback. Like, it was bad. Like, and they were like, no, you sit your ass down. Like, you're clearly not doing your job. But you need your O-line to show up in these situations. Like, he's got some receivers, they can get the ground game going, but your O-line can't be getting benched between games for not doing their jobs. Like, there's definitely some issues there on the offense.
And I kind of laughed it off or scoffed at when you brought up after week 2 for the Titans benching Will Levis for Mason Rudolph. If they start 0-4 and he turns the ball over 3 more times, that might actually happen. Like, Will Levis is struggling. All right, so enough of that. So who are you picking?
What are the picks? I think I'll pick the Dolphins just because.
All right.
I think they've got enough talent on offense to make up for the quarterback situation.
Yes, I did take the Dolphins.
Yeah. All right, Will Levis, don't let me down. If he's turning the ball over again, I'm gonna be mad. So I'm never picking.
Did you say if the Titans lose again, you're done picking them for the season?
You will not pick them ever again the rest of the year.
I'm writing it down.
And hopefully by then, if they bench Will Levis, I might consider it.
Oh,
so he's just not picking Will Levis. All right, it's a personal vendetta.
Yes,
it's personal against Will Levis. All right, and then this is going to be a great game on Monday night. I don't think many people are really even going to be watching Titans Dolphins because we've got the Seattle Seahawks, the undefeated Seahawks, at the Detroit Tar Heels. Have you seen these jerseys?
They're so bad.
They look sharp. I like that. They're gonna
but
be.
But they don't look like Detroit Lions. If they're gonna do a color block, black
they
is not
look
their
like
color.
They look like Detroit crying. That's what it looks like to me. So I think it's gonna be a great game. But I'm gonna roll with the Seahawks. I'm rolling with Geno Smith. I'm
Yeah.
rolling with that defense that's playing great. Yes, they're playing the big bad Lions at home, and all the new uniforms and all the bravado of the Lions, but I think the Seahawks will match the physicality, and I think it's going to
Hmm.
be a heck of a football game.
I will
Yeah.
say this is the first time that if the Seahawks win solidly, I will take it seriously. Their last three games were against a rookie, a journeyman quarterback, and a backup. Like,
Yeah. Prove it time, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
this game is going to be the most important one for them so far this season because, like, yeah, they made it to the NFC Championship game like last year for Detroit, and then Seattle's been looking really good against bad teams. So this game, whoever comes out on top, this is going to be my gauge of where they belong in the NFC hierarchy.
Mhm.
How are you feeling though? Are you going with Detroit? I'm hoping Kenneth Walker plays. I'm not sure if he's going to or not. But the Lions have been struggling against, covering receivers. I could see DK Metcalf going off. Geno Smith has been on fire. How do you see it, Amanda?
I think the Lions are kind of due for their get right game. They haven't scored more than 20 points so far in a game.
Hmm.
But I feel like they're ready. So I am gonna make an ass of myself and pick the Lions.
Good. An opportunity
Because
for Alex.
I should have picked Carolina last week. Like that was my upset. I called it and then I still
You
picked
did.
against them. And I was fucking right too. I gotta trust my intuition. But I think Seattle is getting a little cocky. They looked better than they are because they've played poor offenses. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick
That's,
Detroit and
I,
just
I want you guys both to know that is legal in the National Football League. It's
What's
okay to
that?
play bad teams. Okay
oh
to play bad offenses and defenses and whoop their tails. And that's
oh
what
I
you're
know.
supposed to do.
That's what the
And
Bills did last week.
as you continue to get better and fine tune your team, that's what you do.
Mhm. There was one
This
year when the
is
Packers 3 weeks in a row put up like 45 plus points.
Yes.
It was like was it 2012? I think it was like the 15-1 season. And people were talking shit like, why are they doing well, they're just running up their numbers. Why the fuck not? Like
Right. That's
it was
right.
beautiful. And then we lost in the divisional round, so it didn't matter. But
All right, I'll break down what's going to happen in this game on Monday night. The Lions should win this game. They're at home. They got their flashy new jerseys. This is a game they expect to win, get back to get to 3-1, a statement game, right, on national TV. The Achilles heel of the Detroit Lions, how I see it, quarterback and head coach. Jared Goff is going to have at least one turnover, maybe a pick six or something that's going to cost the Lions here. And Dan Campbell is going to do one of his, whether it's a fake punt from his own 20 or whether he goes for it on fourth downs, something like that that's going to cost the Lions, and the Seahawks steal it by like a field goal. In
yeah.
Seahawks we trust, and the Lions are going to bury those jerseys and not bring them out. I think those jerseys are going to be bad luck.
Alex sent me the link of them announcing their new jerseys, and I was like, "Are they from the Carolinas? Like, what is
Yeah,
this?"
the Detroit Tar Heels.
I don't like the black. Like if it was all silver or all blue, like that's I just don't think
Yeah.
black's one of their colors. You got white, silver, and blue. Like that's it.
I like the throwback silver helmets with the blue,
Yeah,
the
I like
old
those.
school
Like
Lions.
you don't
I'm
see
not
Green Bay
feeling
out here
blue.
wearing red. Like don't just claim new colors. Imagine if the Packers showed up with an all black jersey.
So you picked Detroit though, right, Amanda? You picked
I
Detroit?
picked Detroit. Yes.
Good. I like it.
It gives us an odd number of games this week too, so we can't come out even.
So I'm gonna take first place after week 4,
Oh my
uh,
God.
and it's gonna be a fun week. Hugh, thanks for coming back on. This was a great episode, and I can't wait for week 4. It's gonna be a fun weekend of football.
Hey, it's a quarter of the season that's going
Yeah,
to be down, and teams are starting to jockey about where they're going to finish. Obviously, the first quarter doesn't tell you everything, but it tells you a lot if you
yeah,
really look at it for what it is. So these quarterbacks are starting to hit their strides. The offensive teams feeling more comfortable, the defensive teams, but we also have seen a rash of injuries across
yeah,
the National Football League. And
yeah,
I think it's because of the way they practice now. It's way different than what it used to be. So I just think now it's going to be the second quarter of the season for a team to really get back to where they need to be because of some injuries. And so
yeah,
how you play this, I'm talking about the teams, how they play, getting healthy, and getting where they could be in all these matchups over the next 4 weeks after this week is going to be so important.
yeah. Can't wait. And yeah, it seems like a pivotal week to be like, are you really this good? Are you really this bad? prove it time. And so can't wait. Good stuff as always. Amanda, can't wait to go head to head in our picks. Hugh, great picks as always. Thanks for coming on. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Have a great week, guys. Peace out.